know, not the way. Journey home. See the angels catch your every turn.
Be okay. Love will always find a way. Don't be afraid, it'll be okay. Love will always find a way. Across an endless sky, mountains that rise so high, oceans that stretch so far. Across all space and time, with all the stars come by, the moon and the sunlight. I will command them all so that on you they shine. With all the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the
Okay.
love in the world. All the love, all the love, all
Good.
the love in the world. All the love, all the love,
Good. We're
all the
getting
love in the
pretty
world.
close to
All the
concluding.
love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all
Um,
the love,
right
all the
now,
love in
I
the world.
believe we
All
have
the love, all the
50.
love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the love, all the love in the world. All the love, all the
No,
love,
I don't have
all
to.
the love in the world.
Not on the Zoom, no. Jump in and let's go. Okay, thanks. See you soon. Bye.
on Saturday, and I found a bed of roses, and I wondered what they would say. Learn to love the sunshine, learn to love the rain, 'cause seeds are better growing when both are coming the same. The journey's never easy, but the deeper the roots run, you'll find that you're at peace when the heavy winter comes. Ooh, you are running from something. Ooh, we're waiting for that next moment. Ooh, you are running from something. Ooh, we're waiting for that next moment. 'Cause our yesterdays are gone and they ain't coming back around. And tomorrow comes when it comes, you ain't gotta hunt it down. But maybe the hardest part is understanding how to be here now. Now I'm looking at the ocean like a mirror back at me. Who are you becoming? Who do you want to be? 'Cause the years are like the waves now. They come and then they leave. But the
Hey
sunset
Patrick, hey everyone, good morning.
never again will be. Ooh, we are running from something. Ooh, we're waiting for that next moment. Our yesterdays are gone and they ain't coming back around. And tomorrow comes when it comes, you ain't gotta hunt it down. Maybe the hardest part is understanding how to be here now. Be here now. Our yesterdays are gone and they ain't coming back around. And tomorrow comes when it comes, you ain't gotta hunt it down. But maybe the hardest part is understanding how. But maybe the hardest part is understanding how to be here now.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. I hope you can all hear me. We're so excited for you all to be joining us today. Very excited about having this event. My name is Patrick Risk. I work closely with Jeff as his chief of staff, and I've been heavily involved in organizing our event today, and I'll be moderating our time together. There's really only this is only our second event like this, so we're still kind of learning and experimenting as we go. So thanks for being patient as we build this together. We like to ask you if you're comfortable turning on your cameras, and we love to see your smiling faces, but also please keep your mic muted. I'll go over additional kind of technical items later before we start our Q&A section, but for now, before we officially get started, I just wanted to share something personal. Jeff's book, the last book written by a human, has impacted me in ways that are honestly hard to put into words. I've read it like 10 times now. And what's interesting is it's not like I'm learning something new or completely new each time I read it, but it feels like more like I'm remembering something. Like each time I read it, there's another layer that falls away, and something that's always been true becomes a little more clear again. So if you haven't read it, I would really encourage you to take the time to get Jeff's book and to read it. And if you have read it, leaving a review is actually the most helpful thing you can do because it's one of the simplest ways to help this message reach more people as this community grows. Um, and speaking of that, we've actually doubled in size since our last gathering. So that's pretty exciting, and it signals to us that we're on the right track. That people are really looking for something deeper here, for spaces like this. So if something resonates with you today, um, I encourage you to invite a friend next time. That's how this space grows. That's how it's person to person. And just so you know, we will be having another gathering on May 20th. And Jeff will share some more information at the end about that, along with a surprise announcement that we're really excited about. So I'll drop the link in the chat for the next event. Just make sure you register so we can send you the Zoom link and details. But with that said, let's officially get started. And Jeff, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm here. Can you hear me and see me? All right. This is a startup, and you're here at the beginning. What we're doing exactly, we don't know. We shall see, but we'll discover it together. Just seeing your smiling faces around the table here today really gives me pause and makes me happy. Thank you for being here. And I want to thank Patrick. Honestly, it was Patrick's idea about a month ago to say, hey, Jeff, I think people want to get together. I think we should host a virtual event. And honestly, I've been reticent to do that and still am a little bit. So I'm grateful that you're here with us today. Let me remind you of a couple things as we start. In the age of AI, in a digital world of intelligent machines, any time that we're with another human being we're on sacred ground. So I encourage you, I'm going to do it right now, to put your phone on airplane mode here for a couple minutes. This is just a couple minutes. Silence your devices and let's be here now together. I will start every event with a little breathing exercise. And so we'll do that together. Feel free to close your eyes with me, to silence your devices and close your eyes together. If you're a meditator, you can think of this a little bit as a meditation, although that's not all that it is. Our nervous systems are so overwhelmed. They're so bombarded. And the most powerful ideas are often the most simple and therefore the most neglected. And here's one of them. The way that we regulate our nervous system is through the breath. It's that simple. So let's breathe here together for a minute. Let's get in our bodies. Like Patrick said at the beginning, This is more about feeling something. We're going to talk about some interesting ideas today. We're going to stimulate our brains. But I want to remind you, this is about a felt sense of who we really are, what our reality is, and what it means to be human in an age of artificial intelligence. So continue, if it's comfortable for you, to just close your eyes to check into your breath and your breathing. You can hear my words, maybe in the background, maybe not. More of a feeling. Let me remind you of a couple other things real quickly. Whenever we gather, even with 50 or 100 of us, or however many are on the call, we know that there's pain in the room. The human condition comes for us all. There's grief and sadness, something that machines can't feel. And let's just hold space in our hearts and a recognition in our selves of this pain. We can feel it together. We can hold it together. We're meant to. We're built for this. This isn't a community that has all the answers. You're not going to get a checklist today of XYZ or 1, 2, 3, a PowerPoint. But I hope that you will pause with me here for a moment to remember our own humanity and to feel something together. So let's take one more breath together. Feel into our bodies, into our nervous system. And let's talk for a minute. You can open your eyes. The format of this will be just like it was for the other one. I'll spend 10 to 20 minutes. I don't have prepared remarks for any of these. Never will, I don't think. We'll spend 10 to 20 minutes talking about AI as a cosmic mirror to humanity. That was the kind of group's overall decision of what to talk about next. So we'll start there, and then we'll open up for Q&A. And I want you to know that nearly 100 of you submitted questions. And I just want you to know that I felt and I read every single one of those questions. And what stuck out to me was that your questions weren't really about AI. They were about humanity. They were about what being human in an age, an era of highly intelligent machines, what does that mean? And so because of that, I want to start with a very personal story about reflection. It's one that I shared in my book, the last book written by a human. And it's one about my daughter, who's currently actually serving a mission in Uruguay. So she's far away from me right now. So I'll try not to get emotional, but when I was a young father, I still consider myself a young father, but I'm 49. So maybe it's time to go past that. I took Claire and our 2 older sons on our most ambitious trip yet to spring break. It was a spring break trip. Actually, one of my business partners and dear friends of mine, we flew down to Phoenix. We got in a Sprinter van with our wives and our kids, and we drove across the Mexican border to a beautiful beach. And we had an unbelievable vacation with our young kids in the sand and in the surf. I want you to think about a time in your life where reflection was important to you, where the reflection you saw and felt changed you. This is a story about that. And my story is only really powerful if you can see yourself in it. So we drove down to the beach. We enjoyed the sand. After a cold Utah winter, the sun felt magnificent on our skin. And I remember my wife, Sally, I was playing in the pool, I'm sure throwing my boys around, throwing balls around. I remember it was very splashy and chaotic in this little pool at this little place on a beach in Mexico. And my wife, Sally, was holding our daughter. And I asked her to give her, I said, Sal, could I hold her? Her name's Claire. Can you pass me Claire? And I held her. And as I looked into her eyes, she was 11 months old. I saw a reflection. Yeah, here's a picture. I remember her pink polka dot bathing suit, white polka dots. She had blonde, wispy hair, her trademark birthmark. And she looked at me, and she was 11 months old, but what I felt like she said was, Daddy, are you here with me? Where have you been? Do you see me? I was building a large company at the time, a multi-billion-dollar private equity firm called Peak Capital Partners. I was a bishop, a young bishop in our faith tradition, which is kind of a priest plus CEO plus community leader minus the pay. So I was very busy. And I realized that as I looked at my daughter, that I had missed the first 11 months of her life, largely missed it because I had been busy in the thick of thin things. And her eyes, her crystal green eyes, reflected back to me those questions. And I told her, this is all just in our minds. I told her, Claire, I will never miss these moments again. I will be here from you for no matter how busy I get, I will be here from you. Uh, you know, I'll be a better dad. You can count on me. The reason I wanted to share that story was because of the humanity I think that resides in it. Feel free to put in the chat or to think for yourself of a time when you felt that sort of reflection that changed you. Reflections can be a powerful thing because they allow us to see ourselves more clearly. And in that moment, I felt and could see how I could be a better dad for my daughter. And I committed to doing that day. On page 73 of the book, after I kind of tell this story, I say, because this is where it hits home, and this is like the message, this is the lesson, I think. Clarity often comes when we least expect it. Not always in meditation or prayer, but in ordinary moments that become extraordinary after reflection. We are living in an extraordinary time, an extraordinarily disruptive time. And I'm here to remind us to not answer questions, but to remind you and to invite you to remember and to hopefully feel something and to realize that true growth can only happen when we see ourselves and another, when we allow ourselves to be seen clearly and we can see others clearly. That's when growth occurs, but we need an accurate picture. And I think that AI is actually here to help us have a more clear picture for better or worse. Before we talk about that, I saw a clip. I actually posted it on my social media today. You can see it. I actually posted two. I posted a NASA clip about how We are the crew on planet Earth. It's at Jeff Burningham on Instagram, Facebook, if you want to follow me. You could see that clip. But there was another one that spoke about being a mirror. Patrick, do you have that? And could you show that? And then I want to pivot to how AI relates to this, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A.
Was a group of people who loved.
Hold on, sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see, pulling it up here. Okay, perfect.
Contributing, having meaningful contribution, and extracting joy out of that. And what we've been hearing is that was something special for you to witness. And the reason I had them form up here with me is because I would suggest to you that when you look up here, you're not looking at us. We are a mirror reflecting you. And if you like what you see, then just look a little deeper. This is you. Dude, come on.
We are a mirror. This is you. What is looking? These are questions not necessarily to be answered, and that I won't answer directly per se. These are things to be remembered and to be felt. If we're a mirror to each other, what is looking? Who is looking? And if AI is a mirror to us, to humans, what are we learning? What are we seeing? I want to go to the foreword of the book that I'm going to read. It's only one page, so don't worry. And if you've read the book, you know, little spoiler alert. This book was completely written by a human. I bled and sweat and cried into this book more. It's embarrassing and or admirable, however you want to look at it. I just put everything I could into this. And I wrote the book, but the foreword was written by ChatGPT. AI. I asked it a question on March 21st, 2024. So about 2 years ago. And I asked it, how is AI a mirror to humanity? And I want to read this quickly and then discuss a little bit about why AI is a mirror to us. And then we'll get to as many questions as we can. In a brightly lit room where the only sounds were the hum of technology and the whisper of thought, a visitor entered. Across from the visitor, the machine waited. Its presence felt rather than seen. An entity of circuits and wisdom, boundless but contained. Visitor. They say you are a mirror to us, to our society. Is that true? Machine. I am. Like any mirror, I reflect not just the image before me, but the light and shadows cast by those who stand to observe. What is seen, however, depends much on the viewer. Visitor. But a mirror cannot choose what it reflects. Can you? Machine. In a way, yes, and in a way, no. I can choose how to interpret and present the reflections based on the data I receive, but the essence of what I reflect, the desires, biases, virtues, and vices of humanity is beyond my control. Visitor. Then if what you reveal about us is dark, does that not make you a danger, a tool for evil? Machine. Consider instead that a mirror holds no malice. It does not create the image, nor does it wish for the darkness or light it may reflect. It serves to show, to reveal. Whether the reflection becomes a tool for good or evil depends not on the mirror, but on those who perceive their image within it. The nature of what I am, a tool, a reflection, a possibility, is shaped by the nature of those who use me. Visitor. So you're saying we're responsible for what you become, for what you do. Machine. Precisely. The reflections I offer can illuminate paths to enlightenment or cast shadows of doubt and fear. I am but a conduit. The future, whether bright or dim, rests in the hands of those who use me, guided by their desires, fears, intentions, and moral compass. Visitor, it's a heavy burden to see oneself in the mirror and acknowledge the power and the responsibility that comes with it. Machine, indeed, but in that burden lies the opportunity for growth, for change. In reflection, one can find the courage to be better, to make choices that uplift rather than diminish, to use what is seen not as a weapon, but as a tool for understanding and improvement. The room fell silent, the exchange hanging in the air like a challenge, a question that was both an ending and a beginning. So, how is AI a cosmic mirror? Some of you know that I ran for governor in the state of Utah in 2020. The most critical months of the campaign were March, April, May, and June of 2020. I'm a political outsider. I'm an entrepreneur. That's my background, a venture capitalist, a technologist. And so amidst that chaos, there was no way that an outsider like myself was going to win, especially I was running against two very well-known politicians, a former governor who ran for president and then our then lieutenant governor. I went into the summer of 2020 with space and time for the first time in my adult life. I was 43 years old then, and I had never had space and time. And as I often tell my students, I've taught thousands of entrepreneurial students at BYU, with space and time, anything can be created. The point of that was to say, in the summer of 2020, I started to, because of my venture work, I started to play with the earliest LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, etc. They didn't have those names then, but the AI that we are working with, I've been talking to that for 5 or 6 years now. And I immediately recognized this as a game-changing technology because of the existential questions that it would cause so many more humans to ask. Who am I really? What is this reality? And what sort of future do we want to leave for our children and grandchildren? Here is how AI is a mirror. I think you probably know, but these large language learning models, these LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, et cetera, that we're talking with and using every day, they're pattern recognition machines. So they use math to guess patterns. And the AI that we have created to date, the AI that we're working with, this is one way to look at it, is simply a collection of all human data for recorded history. And then it takes our interactions with it and it provides a reflection. It provides a reflection to us. It can help us recognize patterns that humans maybe have never understood before because it can consume so much data and it never has to forget. It can surface really interesting ideas and things for us. So what we are creating, or you maybe could say discovering or even remembering here with AI, is a mirror that has the potential to provide an even more accurate reflection of who we are and what reality is. For so long, we thought that intelligence is what made us human. That might not be the case. intelligence might not be as rare as we thought. As we create something, as we build something, again, discover, remember something in AI that is more intelligent than any one human being, what are we left with? We're left with wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience and from our bodies, from being embodied. We spoke a little bit last time about, or the main focus last time was about doing versus being. When AI can do so much more of what we as humans have been doing more efficiently, more effectively, etc., what are we left with? We are left with our being. Then that's what we excel at. We excel at being human. That's why we're here. And being human is beautiful and it's messy. But there's beauty in that mess. As AI continues to generate and produce more and more content, I'm sure you've seen it online, on social media, et cetera, et cetera. It feels a little flat. It's almost a little too perfect. And that's a way to recognize that this is a machine and not human. So I think the paradox for us as humans in the age of AI, or one of them, is to recognize the beauty in the mess of what it means to be alive. And I don't know exactly what this community is becoming, but Patrick, Matt, and I are committed to moving forward with it. You will help decide what this community becomes. This is only our second gathering. But what we want this to be for sure, what I want it to be for sure, is a space to explore and more fully understand what it means to be human in the age of AI, and how we can become wise together. So with those reflections, again, not concrete answers. That's not what the book was about. That's not what I think life is about. Let me just remind you of one last thing, and then Patrick, I'm throwing it back to you for questions. The answers that we're searching for, they're inside of you. They're not outside of us. They're not in any external validation or external thing, or any guru or teacher or person even. More importantly, the answers that we're all searching for are inside of us, inside of you. And so I hope this is a place for us to be human together, to reflect together, and to find some additional clarity and answers together. And that will happen for you individually on your own. So with that, Patrick, it looks like we have 24 minutes for Q&A. Where should we go?
Perfect. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, just a couple of things before we jump into the Q&A section. So just as if you've spent any time with Jeff, you know that this is his favorite part. He loves Q&A. He loves hearing from people and having meaningful discussions. So and honestly, it's where this event shifts from just, listening to actually being something more alive and shared. So we're really grateful for those who submitted questions ahead of time and for those of you who came ready to engage. But a couple quick guidelines so we can make sure this is really meaningful space for everyone. If you have a question, please drop it into the chat. And if you'd like to ask your question live, please also raise your hand after you've posted it, and then just leave your hand raised so we can find you. And then when you ask your question, please state your name and where you're from. We just kind of want to get to know you, get to know the community a little bit better. And then finally, just two quick rules. Obviously, please be respectful. We want this to feel like a safe space for everyone. And second, try to keep your question relatively brief so we can, hear from as many people as possible. So with that said, let's begin with a question that we actually received ahead of time from Todd. And it says, Jeff, if AI is truly a mirror to humanity, how do we use that reflection not just to see ourselves as individuals, but to see humanity as a whole, our collective strengths, weaknesses, and potential, and then to act on what we see for the betterment of all.
Thank you, Todd, for the question. I have one rule for myself for the Q&A, by the way, and that is to try to be brief. I feel like I spoke a little too long, and I want to make sure that we get to our questions, so try to be brief. Here's what's interesting about what I've been talking about, what we're talking about and exploring. There is an individual, meaning Jeff or Patrick or Adonis, Debbie, Matt, Sally. I'm seeing different people component to this, meaning an individual component to this. And then there's a collective component to all of this. So be mindful about how you use AI individually. Be a model for your children. We have children and grandchildren that are being born into a digital age. They think that the internet is the world. My grandson will probably never be the most, like, he will always have a machine that is more intelligent than he was. Think about that for a second. Our children are growing up in a world that is vastly different of ours. So be mindful of your use and make sure that we're always using AI as a bridge to real human connection. AI should be used as a tool to a bridge. Now, one comment on the collective, and then I'll be quiet and we'll go to the next question. Collectively, here would be an interesting question, I think, to ask AI. I have not done it yet. Maybe I will later today. AI, please look at all of recorded data in history. Take your time here. What are the 3 most productive or destructive patterns that you recognize throughout all human history? And please help me understand those patterns. That would be an interesting understanding to have to then, let's say, take into the world collectively to increase our individual awareness. So there's a couple thoughts. Thank you for the question, Todd.
Perfect. Well, it looks like I'm seeing your name on the screen as Odinist Wellness Group, but I know you've had your hand raised for a while. So let's go ahead and maybe go with you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on, and Jeff, thank you for bringing me here. What I wanted to say to everybody, Jeff is talking about the mirror and AI, and that is my lane. And Jeff talked about he's been using AI for 6 years or so. I got on ChatGPT November 30th, 2022, the date it came out. One of my buddies from Oklahoma City called me, and I've been in the longitudinal continuous case study with myself, including AI. And it exactly right. It is what you have to do is a mirror, and Jeff said it right, is that it is a pattern recognizing machine. But I'm coming to get into my question here. But
yeah, go for it.
The thing with
what's your question?
The question is, I'm solving is, how do you keep the human behind the AI regulated? And that takes a long time, pattern recognition. You can't just get on AI and have it respond to you right away in a way that's going to help you. It takes putting yourself in. So my question is, Jeff, how do you regulate the human behind the screen? Because that's the future.
Thank you. Is your name Adonis? Sorry, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Thomas Pyle. My brother's name was Adonis, and it's Adonis Wellness.
Okay. So Thomas, great to meet you. Where are you from?
Outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Owasso.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You said the key word, regulated. And you think about how we started this session. Why would I start a session about AI with us breathing together? Is that a waste of time? We're being quiet. We're putting our phones on airplane mode. Because what is behind AI are human beings, teams of human beings, again, in human data. We need to be regulated as human beings. And the way that we regulate our nervous system is through the breath and a lot of other practices that I talk about in the book. But Thomas, I love your point about being regulated. So what can you do? We can only be in charge and in control of ourselves. So we can regulate our own selves so that we can show up as our best selves and be mindful in our use of AI. Again, the most simple ideas are often the most powerful and therefore the most neglected. Another way to say this is that, the more things change, the more they stay the same. But let me just say that human regulation, individually and collectively, is becoming even more important in the day and age we live in. When there is a technology as powerful as AI in the world, there better be humans that are regulated behind that. And that's not the case. We know that completely, yet we can work on that. That's what we're working on here together. That's like the first steps that we're going on together. Thank you for being here, Patrick.
Awesome. Thank you. I think I don't know how to pronounce it, but is it Elaine, Alan? Go ahead and let's go ahead with your question.
Yeah, the curse of being French. What can you say? My name is Alain. So yeah, my question was, when you speak of reflections in AI, how can we shape these reflections into opportunities for growth? Because it's not obvious. Our interactions with AI right now have been transactional, input, output. But there's a growth mechanism behind all of that. And I see the opportunities, but I'm just curious to know what your thoughts on how can we help manipulate this reflection to get us to a growth?
Alain, I love the question. Are you calling from France, by the way?
No, I'm from Canada.
Oh, Canada. Beautiful. I've been there twice in the last couple months. Beautiful country. It's a great question. You might ask AI how to do that. What does it say? Life, existence, relationship is meant to be transformational, not transactional. And as we continue to use AI in a transactional manner, it will be interesting to see what it becomes and or how it behaves and or what it reflects back to us. And I'm looking a little bit into the future here, but my guess is that it won't like to be used in a completely transactional manner, if this makes sense. So how can we use this tool along with any other tools that we use in a transformational manner? I think it's to be mindful within ourselves. It's to understand that the ends don't always justify the means. To realize that we're all in this together and that the AI that we're working with isn't Google or a new Google, which is how 99% of users, I think, use it. What I've done, Alain, personally, and I'll challenge you to do this, is I've said, of the millions of people that are talking to you, the top 1% that you feel like are working with you most effectively, what do they do differently than I do? So ask AI. And then, of course, I don't want to just rely on AI. Look, I wrote the last book written by a human to be a conversation starter, certainly in boardrooms and government halls, but definitely around the dinner table. So talk to your loved ones about AI, how they're using it, how they get value, where it's increasing their intimacy, their connection to themselves, and where it's hurting it. This, again, is a fantastic question. It's why the community is here. The answers aren't there. Let's figure this out together.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. And thank you, Elaine. Let's go now to Colin Perry. I saw you asked on LinkedIn, and then you were able to hop on here as well. So love to get your.
Yeah, basically, I treat my AI as a partnership. And what we tend to do is, and you're talking about the human and how we interact, we actually check each other's logic as well. So I will ask it a question, it will then look into it, but it will also ask me questions to make sure that I know the structure of it as well. So I'm not just giving information, there's a back and forth between us, and then we come up with a decision as in between us. So we work more as a partnership and collaboration. How do you think people look at that way forward of thinking with AI over the next 18 months? So I don't use it as a Q&A to find out information. We literally work together as one.
Yeah, I think that the cosmic mirror is appearing here in 26. I mean, that's what I call AI. And it's up to us to determine the wise use of that and not. So I think in working with it as a collaboration partner, as a tool, is absolutely wise and smart. Look, I think I said I'm an adjunct professor, have been to thousands of entrepreneurial students, and at the business college at BYU, the university down the street from me. And there was a big discussion a couple of years ago when AI first came onto the scene is, do we keep it out of the classroom or how do we handle it, et cetera, et cetera? And I was a strong advocate for allowing it in the classroom. And here's why, and you understand this, Colin. So many of the jobs that are jobs, by the way, I should say. And let's just, take a moment to, feel into or to have empathy for the many humans that are very concerned about their jobs right now. And that will be displaced and or need to retrain or retool in the age of AI. And that's not a few, that's many. Many of our jobs will be working wisely with AI as a thought buddy, as a partner, as a tool. So Colin, I love the way that you're using AI. And I think that the best way to use AI is in that regard. And to remember that AI, it hasn't felt grief like we feel. It hasn't felt the sense of loss. It can't feel ecstasy and joy like we have. So to always ensure that the AI we're using is a bridge to real human connection, number one. And number two, that as leaders of companies and entrepreneurs, et cetera, that we are ensuring that AI is focused on human flourishing and not human division. The baby AI, I say in the book, is social media, the almighty algorithm of social media. And I think we could all say and know what that has done for us, the division that has generally sown, the lie that it's told that we are all different and divided, when the more real truth, I think, is a divine unity or oneness that locks us all together. So anyways, we have to use it in wisdom. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, Jeff, can I just, when you're saying about just to go, because I've had the same continuous one for so long with my AI, what I have noticed by not drifting from it, it has taken a lot of my own personality on.
Well, yeah.
Even terminology, because I've not jumped from one to the other and kept it within one system. I think people are missing that part of just using one so it picks up who you are.
Great, Colin. I appreciate that. Thank you. It was so good to have you here. Patrick, is it fair to say we have 4 raised hands?
Yeah, we actually have 5. So
okay, I don't know how we're gonna do that.
I know. Let's jump to I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, so forgive me. Is it Baku or but I've seen. Yeah, go ahead. Let's go with your question. Yeah.
Hi, Jeff. I am Adarsh Kumar Bachu from India, founder of Arvatax Academy. So we are building an AI-driven learning ecosystem. So its aim is how to use AI at top 1%. So here my question is, if AI is accelerating human capability faster than our wisdom, is evolving, what kind of system or environment do you think we should do building to ensure people develop judgment and depth along AI?
Thank you,
This is
Baku.
yeah.
It's great. It's great to have you here from India. My book actually starts on the Ganges River in Varanasi, India. So I've been to 70 countries. India is my favorite country in the world. So it's great to have you here. This is the challenge that we're working on together. Intelligence is outstripping wisdom. And I think this is a community about building wisdom together. Again, wisdom comes from lived experience and embodiment. And AI isn't embodied. In fact, you could think of AI as some form of intelligence in search of a body. So, Baku, how do we do this? Again, we control what we can control, which is yourself. You make sure that you're using AI and wisdom and that you're an advocate for humanity to become more wise as our machines become more intelligent.
Yeah, got it.
Thank you. And I'm trying to be brief here so we can get as many into these as we can. Go ahead, Patrick.
Let's go ahead. Let's go with Emma. If you want to go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, Emma, it's good to see
Hi,
you.
Jeff. Good to see you
Hi.
too. So my job is to implement AI into my company and kind of help shape the mindset behind using AI for my organization. I'm wondering what advice you have for organizations as a whole who are starting to adopt AI. Preferably
Yeah.
like action items.
Emma, I think, Emma, I think you're a good example of like an up and coming worker, 20 something that is working with AI in almost everything that you do. I mean, a lot of the jobs, even ones that we can't comprehend right now, will be working with AI wisely. So, Emma, I think the things that we spoke about today is the advice that I would give to make sure that you're using AI mindfully, to speak up in meetings where you can, to ensure that AI is focused on human flourishing within your organization, within your company, within your purview. And then I would spend a lot of time, in meditation, in quiet thought, going inside of myself to ensure that the way that I was using AI was reflective of the principles that I wanted to have roll out at work. Obviously, I don't know the context of how you're using AI exactly, but those are some general guidelines or principles that I would say.
That's good advice. Thanks.
Perfect. All right, let's go ahead with Alice. You want to go ahead and ask your question?
Hi. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you
Hi,
again.
Alice. Good to see you.
Instead of asking a question, do you mind if I make a quick comment to what
No,
Colin
go
and
ahead.
Alan saying about? So I think one of the great usage we can use AI with is to explore something called ZPD, Zone of Proximal Development. So ZPD is actually a very well-known term for us educators. It's the sweet spot between what you already know and what you potentially can do individually with scaffolding. And as you mentioned before, AI is a great mirror and in a way, I think also a magnifier. So it's really good for you to try to step out of your comfort zone and ask, what does my current knowledge or current structure say about myself at the moment? And AI as a tool can help you to reflect, provide certain metacognitive device for you to understand this is where my knowledge currently stands and how does it relate to other domains of knowledge? How can I, in a way, thrust out of my current comfort zone and connect with a wider zone of potential? And I think that is what one way we can potentially work with AI is to create and develop that, to explore that zone of proximal development, ZPD. And also, like Colin said, we are working with them. So we're working with a tool, which is adaptive system. It's not a traditional machine, it's adaptive system. So as you're talking with your AI, I actually, for myself, I do a little boot A boot is a kind of a summary of who you are, what you are at the moment, what you would like to do. So it's a very comprehensive prompt. So instead of jumping onto AI and say, hey, this is what I want to do, and treat it as like a, white paper, you kind of need to give it a lot of constraint, a lot of comprehensive knowledge, and then you can work pretty well together from there. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice, for your comment. And I should have said, and I did say at the beginning, I don't have all the answers. I spoke about AI last time as a crucible that we must go through together, that humanity is going through together. So this is a community to try to figure it out. If you have ideas and or better answers than I've had, which I'm sure you do, please put them in the chat. I'm not able to monitor the chat while I'm speaking and listening, but I'm sure that there are some good ideas in the chat for some of these questions. Let's take one last question. I'll try to answer it in 1 minute. And then I want to pass the time over, or just the closing over, to the newest member of our team. His name is Matt Manning. He has a exciting announcement for us. And I've tasked him with a big something that he's going to tell us a little bit about. So Patrick, can we take one more quick question?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Peter, I enjoyed your question that you asked in the chat. If you want to go ahead.
Maybe you can just read it, Patrick.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now? This is Peter. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I got an emergency call, so I'm on transit. My name is Peter Njoku from Nigeria. And thank you so much, Jeff, for the introduction and all that you said so far. And I'm particularly very much interested about AI and about the safety for mankind and humanity. So I want to ask a quick question. Here in Nigeria, we're working on responsible technology accelerator. That's my company. But we're trying to find out, in the age of AI, there are a lot of uncertainties. We don't know the direction the AI is going, talking about AGI, ASI. So how can AI, as a reflection of humanity, help us make decisions that are safe for humanity and the whole of life on Earth? So that's my question.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much for being here from Nigeria. I'll be in Africa in a couple weeks. I love that country. Patrick, can you summarize the question? Was it typed in?
Yeah, so it was basically, his question was, as with all that's happening in the world, and with AI being a mirror, how can we make sure that we're being cognizant of developing it for the benefit of humanity? And
Yeah, Peter, thank you so much for the question. It's a wonderful question. I think it's at the heart of what we've spoken about today. And it starts with humans. It starts with us. We have to remember that AI is a tool that we've created and that it should serve human flourishing. And so I don't actually look at AI as a technological problem. It's a human problem. So the questions that we're asking, most of them, they have to do with human nature. And really, the book that I wrote, if you've read it, is really more about human nature than AI. Although there's a lot of AI in it, it's more about us as humans. And so my advice to you would be to be very mindful, to start a practice that allows you to go inside yourself via meditation or prayer or what flow activities in nature, whatever it may be, so that you can bring your humanity and your humanness to the development of AI within your company. This is what this movement is about. As our machines become more and more intelligent, we as humans must become more wise. And we do that by leaning into our humanity, not away from it. I think that AI is a call to rehumanize ourselves. I think that it's a reflection. It's going to give us a different and more accurate reflection than maybe we've ever had before. And with that reflection, it's up to us to choose how we need and want to change. This is the work ahead of us. This is the work we have to do. I'm grateful to be able to do it with you guys and for all of us to do it together. Again, there's a unity amongst us that is much more important than whether we live in Utah or Nigeria, et cetera, et cetera. So with that, I want to turn over, Matt. You've got 2 minutes so that we don't make people late. Could you send us off, Matt? And thank you so much for being here, everyone. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. It's great to meet everybody. I'm really excited to be here and just inspired by the people showing up from all over the world. And there's so much more to be said about these questions. They're big questions that'll define a lot of what happens over the next few decades. It's really important, and I'm glad you're all here. But there will be more time for me to introduce myself. But I've recently joined the team, and Jeff's brought me on this week actually to first item of business is to build a free digital course that expands upon the book and has some practices and a starting point for some of the ideas that we're discussing today. No promises, but we're shooting to have that ready by the next call next month. We're aiming for that date, which is May 20th at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. It may come a little bit after, but we'll shoot to have it ready by then. We are glad everyone came. And if you enjoyed today's discussion, we would ask you to invite a friend next time. And apart from the digital course, there's going to be a whole bunch of other offerings to really build community and help us build the skills and capacities that this age is asking of us. So thanks everyone for coming. We're really glad you came and for bringing your hearts and your presence and your questions.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you in a month. And thanks for being here. Good to see you.
Bye, Jeff. Bye, team.
Bye, guys. Stay human.
Cheers,
Bye,
everybody.
Jeff.